friends, it's Chari, and today I am making a platform pop-up card, and I'm going to be creating an Easter basket out of it. So I'm going to transform it a little bit, give it a cute little handle, and use some of my older Easter dies as well. So I was inspired to use my Build a Basket set, but instead of using the basket in that set, I wanted to use the elements and make my basket a platform pop-up. So I'm starting out with some ripe banana spiffy speckles 12 by 12 paper, and I've cut 2 of the platform pop-up pieces from that spiffy speckles paper. And then I'm going to pull out my diagonal skinny stripe stencil, and I'm going to use that to create my basket weave on the outside and the bottom of my platform pop-up to create the basket. I'm using some dried marigold distress oxide ink, and because this stencil is very thin lines, instead of going in circles like I normally do when I'm ink blending through a stencil, I'm going to pull the ink in the direction of those stripes. So you can see that I'm just pulling the ink rather than going back and forth across those stripes. So I'm doing this on the outside part of the box, and then I also decided to go ahead and do it to the bottom, just in case whoever I give this to looks at the bottom. This way it'll be a consistent basket on the bottom as well. So again, I'm just pulling that ink in the same direction of the stripes until I get all of that covered. And then I can pull that up. And then what I'm going to do is take this same stencil and turn it 90 degrees so that my stripes are going in the other direction. And this will give me my basket weave look that I'm going for to make my Easter basket. So I've got all of that colored going the opposite direction, and you'll see when I pull that up, you get that crisscross basket weave look. Before I pull this up and pull that tape off, I am adding some gold splatters, just a more subtle gold, just so there's a little bit of shimmer and shine to this basket. I'm not going to be putting any other glitter on this basket, so I just wanted those speckles that kind of got covered up when I did the inking, the speckles that were on the paper. I wanted to pull them out again by adding some gold, so you get a little bit of shimmer there when the light hits it. So I'm going to do all the same things to a second piece, so I have 2. And now I'm moving on to some grass. So this is actually the platform pop-up add-on piece. I'm using this because it is exactly the length that I need to put some grass on the inside edge of my platform pop-up box. So I've cut 2 of these out of some green spiffy speckles paper, and then I'm just using my Grassy border die to cut a grassy edge. These are going to have those score lines to fold it to fit inside the box. So this is going to fit perfectly on the inside, and you'll get this grassy edge that sticks up across the top. I'm also going to create a little top edge of the basket, like a folded down kind of rim around the basket. But I didn't really have a cardstock color that I liked with what I had already inked, so I'm making my own using some Bristol cardstock, and I'm using saltwater taffy distress oxide. I'm using one of these fancy lacy borders, and I will cut both of these pieces with that lacy border. You can see I cut those pieces with the top part of the box, so I have the scallop across the top that matches, and then I'll have that fancy lace on the bottom. Now that I have these cut, I did want to kind of enhance the edge a little bit, so I'm using some abandoned coral, which is a really nice darker color that goes well with the saltwater taffy, and I'm just adding a little bit of inking to the bottom edge of that lace. So you can see how these borders are going to fit right along the top edge of the box, but before I glue those on, I'm going to create my box. So I'm just folding along all the score lines that the die creates. And I will do this to both pieces. I'm going to reinforce that fold with my bone folder, so I have some nice crisp folds. And then I also took the green spiffy speckles paper and cut that top piece that has the little slit for the T pieces for all our platform pieces. And I'm just trimming this down to fit perfectly on top of the box. That way the top will look like the green grass. It will match the green grass. Otherwise, you're going to have a yellow top to the box. This is just kind of an added fun detail, and it's really easy to do. So I'm just trimming along the score lines so that I have that trapezoid shape with that little slit. I can add some liquid glue, and then this is going to line up perfectly with that panel there that's going to be on the top of the box. So I'll do the same on both pieces. And I like using the liquid glue so I can kind of shift it around and make sure it lines up perfectly. Now for those interior pieces, I'm going to be cutting the grass out of matching green spiffy speckles paper. I actually cut 4 of those, and I'll show you why here in a minute when I assemble these pieces. And then I'm cutting 3 of those tea pieces out of some cream colored cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and put that 1/8 inch double-sided tape along the top of the tees. This is where my grass is going to go. So I'll just peel off that liner paper and adhere that to the back of my grass pieces. Now I'm going to do that to 2 of these. That's going to be the one in the front and the one in the far back, kind of in the skinnier parts of the top of the basket. And then for the middle one, I'm going to layer those 2 pieces of grass. I'm going ahead and folding on that score line for those 2 tea pieces, and then for the third one, I don't need that part, so I'm just trimming it off. So for this center piece, I'm going to use 2 of these so that I can get a bit longer piece of grass for the center. So I'll just peel off that liner paper on the tape. I'm going to line it up just laying in the middle of my box so I can see just how far to the left and right I can go with this grass. So I didn't go all the way to the edge, but it will make this basket look more full. And then for the other one, I'm just adding another piece of that double-sided tape. I'll line this back up with the center of the box. And then this one's going to be shifted to the right. So I've got double grass in the middle, which I kind of like because I'm going to cut out Springtime Bunny and it's going to sit in there, and I can kind of put it between those 2 pieces of grass. Now to assemble my pieces into the box, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive tape on that tab that's folded. I'm going to slide it into the slot and make sure it's nice and snug and flat against that platform part. And then I can stick down that adhesive of that tab to the inside of the box, peel off the liner paper for this long tab, and then just fold the box closed. So there's one, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. Now for this one, I need to make sure my grass is facing the opposite direction because I want them both to face forward, and this is going to be the back of my box. So I've added that adhesive to the tab. I'm going to flip my grass over so that I don't see the green because this one goes the other direction. Pull that snug in the slot and push that tab down so it adheres to the inside of the box. And then I can do the same thing and pull the liner paper off that long tab, fold the box closed, and now I have my 2 sides of the box. So you can see how it's important that that grass goes a different direction. Now for that longer piece in the center, I'm just going to adhere the back of that vertical part of the T to the inside of that yellow piece you see there, the inside of the box, where the 2 pieces come together. So the top of the T will be above that line, and the bottom of the T will be hidden down inside of the box once it's completely assembled. I also want to put adhesive all the way across this rectangle piece so that my 2 sides of my box will stick together nicely. And I just used 3 pieces, one at the top and one at the bottom and one through the center. Now before I assemble my box, I need to add a handle to my basket. And I'm going to use the stitched oval Stackables. So this second size down from the largest one, which should be the small stitch ovals, fits perfectly, and then I'm taking the next size down, and what I'm going to do is basically make my own stitched frame. So I'm just going to tape these together so that they don't move. And then I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of cardstock, 2 pieces of mermaid cardstock, and then I'll glue them together to create my handle. So this will be more sturdy because it's 2 pieces, and I'll have that nice finished stitching on both sides when I put the 2 back sides facing each other. So I'm just using liquid glue to laminate those 2 pieces together. And then I've got my die here so I can see just how tall Springtime Bunny is, so I can get a feel for where this handle needs to go. And I'm gluing that to the inside so it will get sandwiched inside the box once I assemble everything together. So that's why I needed to add my handle first before completely assembling my box. But now that that handle is in there, I can put the other 2 pieces together. So I'll just kind of kiss these together and fold that little tab over. I can pull off that liner paper for this other tab and the adhesive I put in the center of the box. And then I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue to the handle just to make sure everything sticks down really nice and well, because there's a lot sort of tucked into this middle part. And then I'll just line up those 2 rectangular pieces and that tab as well. So now you can see when I pop this up, I have this little basket shape with a handle, which I just think is really cute. Now to decorate the rest of the basket, so I'm going to add my scallops now. And the reason why I added this after I put everything together is so I could kind of enforce that fold, because when you have 2 pieces of cardstock layered together, it doesn't always fold perfectly. Luckily, this one is not such a harsh fold, but I just feel like everything went together a little better doing this after the fact. So I'm just using some liquid glue, lining that up with the top of those scallops right there. Then I'm just kind of pinching at those fold points. Now for the grass, I'm using the 1/8 inch adhesive again, and I'm just putting a whole line right along the bottom. This is going to go on the top part of the box on the inside. So that's why I'm putting the adhesive on the green side of the grass. So this will fit perfectly right inside the box. And of course I did 2 of these so that I can have continuous grass all the way around, just like I have the continuous pink scallop edge all the way around. So now you can see that complete basket, and now we're ready to add all the fun elements inside. So I have cut out the Springtime Bunny dies. I've cut the background piece here out of some kraft cardstock. The outline is cut from some paper bag cardstock with just a little bit darker brown. And I'll layer that outline on first. I put adhesive all over the solid piece so that everything will stick down nicely. Then I can fill in the body and the head and the ears and the legs with that kraft cardstock. Trying not to lose all my little pieces on my desk. I've got some pink for the inside of the ears. I use some ground coffee for the eyes and the nose and the mouth. And then finally, I have a little piece of white for his tail. And then this is going to go in the center of my basket. So I'm going to sandwich it between those 2 pieces of grass that overlap each other in the middle. So he's going to look like he's sitting down in the grass. So now to fill my basket with all the goodies of Easter, I used that rabbit from the Build-A-Basket set and the tulips. and also the eggs. So I've made a couple chocolate bunnies. I'm going to only be using 2 of those in my basket, but I've cut the chocolate bunny from chocolate bar cardstock, and then the solid piece that goes behind is cut from ground coffee. So it's all chocolate, but you still get the definition of the ears and the face and the little hands. For the tulips, I'm using cilantro for the stems and guava cardstock for the blooms. And then for the eggs, I cut these from Watercolor Wishes paper, and I decided to stick to just solid eggs and polka dot eggs. And I picked out the colors that did not match the grass too closely. So I left out the green and the aqua color, just stuck with these 4 colors. And I'm layering white behind the ones with the polka dots so that those polka dots stand out. And now I can just fill my basket with all the goodies. So I'm kind of starting out with the eggs and trying to vary where the colors are and the patterns. And I knew I wanted to use 2 chocolate bunnies at least. I thought about 3 because I made 3, but 2, one in the front and one in the back to sort of balance out the browns and the rabbits in my basket. For the eggs, I'm just kind of working my way, trying to vary the colors. I actually am going to move that blue egg I just put there because I wanted to put this polka dot egg, and I realized all my blue eggs would be on one side of the basket. And of course, I want to make sure those colors are kind of evenly distributed if possible. I'm tucking some in front of the grass. I'm tucking some behind the grass to kind of give a look of dimension. And just sort of filling in. Now that all my eggs are in the basket, I can add the tulips. And I really like the tulips. They give a nice pop of color with that guava cardstock, but they also give some height to things because those eggs are kind of sitting down low, and then these tulips can kind of pop up at different heights behind the eggs and the chocolate bunnies. And then finally, every Easter basket needs a pretty bow on top. So I've got the middle-sized bow from Put a Bow on It. I just cut that from some pink Watercolor Wishes paper. And I've put some adhesive in the center, wrapped those 2 bow pieces around, and then I can wrap the center around. And I'm actually going to put a dot of liquid glue to hold the center closed so that it's nice and strong. And actually, that was the end of that glue tube, so we're going to get a new glue tube. And I like to hold it with my tweezers. Now that that's dry, I can add it to the handle right at the top. And again, to hold that in place while that glue kind of sets a little bit, I'll just use those tweezers to hold that bow in place. Now, I did want to add a little tag that says Happy Easter, so I have cut the skinny tag from the Skinny Tags with Hearts and Stars out of the light purple Watercolor Wishes paper. And I'll be using the Happy from Happy, 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 and then I'll use the Easter from the add-on set. I'm sure that you can find Happy Easter in a lot of different sets, but I knew I could find a Happy and an Easter by doing this, so that is what I used. And I knew that they would be sized perfectly to fit on this tag. And then I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the handle and adding my tag. Now, I'm going to check it by pushing it closed, and my tag was a little low, so I'm going to have to adjust it so that it's not in the way when my basket is flat. And then here is my finished basket. So here it is when it's nice and closed. Looks like it will fit in a card envelope pretty well. And then when you pop it up, you get this really sweet, fun Easter basket. I just love those chocolate bunnies and the eggs, and I just think this is so sweet. I think that this platform pop-up turned out super cute. I love the ideas of kind of dressing it up a little bit more with the scallop edge and the grass, and adding the handle was super fun. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye!